Welcome to another virtual chapel from Belhaven University. There's a fantastic paragraph in the letter that Paul wrote to Timothy. It says something like this: Let no one look down on you because you are young, but be an example to the believers in conduct, in speech, in faith, in purity. Do not neglect the gift that you have. Practice these kind of things. Immerse yourself in these kind of things so that all can see your progress. One of the joys in working in the university setting is being around youth and watching them and assisting them as they practice and they progress in their various gifts and their various interests. We as faculty and staff, we see your progress in academia, in life, in maturity, in your calling. We watch how practice increases your abilities in your spiritual walk as you grow emotionally, physically, like in the area of sports and in the arts. I mean, in all of life, we see how practice pays off. So before Dr. Parrott introduces our guest speaker, let's listen to Noelani as she plays a piece that she's been practicing for an upcoming jury and concert. And then we will hear a reflection on the practice of humility, compassion, and relationships.
I'm so glad to have as our chapel speaker today a longtime friend, Clarence Gilyard. He was a co-star of a couple of really big TV shows about 25, 30 years ago, Walker, Texas Ranger, and Matlock with Andy Griffith. Uh, Clarence has been a dear friend for many, many years and was an alum of the school where I was, served as president before I came to Belhaven. And Clarence went on to get his master's in theater and is now teaching in the graduate program at UNLV in the very highly respected and competitive theater program. And I'm glad one of our alums was just accepted into that program this fall, and she's there now studying with Clarence. He's a great friend. I think he's still involved in rodeo and has a lot of unique interests. His passion for the arts is enormous. His love for Christ is unending, and I know you'll be challenged by what Clarence has to say today.
Well, good morning. It's Clarence Gilyard out here in Utah. Early morning. It's about 1 o'clock. I live in Las Vegas. I teach at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And we're raising the rest of our family there. We still have 3 boys to homeschool. But I'm working on a variety of projects, and one of them has to do with this theater that I'm a director of out here in Utah. Right now I'm directing a play called Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? A big boy, big girl play about marriage and faith and honesty. It's kicking my butt, but it's got to be done. So good morning. Get to reflect on your Bible verse of the year. As it goes, light dawns in the darkness for the upright, generous, compassionate, and righteous. It's interesting for me because in my morning prayers, which are hard for me to say, I have a prayer that I say in the morning that has a passage. How's it go? The dawn from on high shall break upon us to shine on those who dwell in darkness and the shadow of death, and to guide our feet into the way of peace. And as it is Lenten season, here comes Pascha. Next weekend, Palm Sunday this weekend, Easter next weekend. It is a time of reflection. Somebody wrote it's joyous reflection and enlightenment. Time to slow down. I'm not slowing down, as I'm sure you're not. Just coming off spring break. Look, as we try to emerge, as I definitely, along with you, try to emerge from this pandemic, I've been thinking about projects that are going to sustain us and teach us after this time of pandemic, this COVID, stories from COVID. I keep coming up with this title, stories from COVID. And I've got a couple of them that keep telling me that I need to take a look at my challenge with humility. So the first one, I was in the supermarket out here at Albertsons doing the groceries for my wife. The big groceries, the full cart. And I was in the meat section, and I had a mask on, and it was very early in the COVID period. And don't know if I told you, but I'm 65, and I've been one of the wonderful, I'm not just saying that, but one of the wonderful challenges that I have is that I am maintaining a battle with cancer. And so I have to be vigilant. So I was shopping and I had my mask on, and a gentleman came by me and brushed my shoulder. And so we were at this meat area, and I think I kindly said, we should probably maintain some kind of distance. I'm dealing with this cancer thing. And the guy said to me, and he did say it nicely, he said, I don't care. I don't care about that stuff. Besides, I got AIDS. And I froze. And then I took my cart and I backed up to a vantage point where I could just observe him, because I was so shocked that that was his response. And I tried to figure out what to do, and I wound up simply just watching him. And I watched him till he went on his way without his mask and not really observing any of the protocols in the supermarket. And there have only been a couple of times in my life when I've been confronted or challenged by someone who didn't respond to neighborliness, civility, compassion. And I've been thinking about making a movie short about that, because there's some of me in there, but I'm so fast in my lifestyle that I don't really reflect on how I might just leave someone, a real person, versus an unreal person. A human being, just leave a human being with their mouth agape because of my lack of response to their humanity, my lack of humility. So that guy's been with me, and he's in my prayers. And I want to offer him to you, because he's out there and he's got a lot on his plate. You know, just being nice to the other gal, to the other guy, just being civil in passing, because of love of God. That can make my day. So that's one of my stories that I've been chewing on. The other one is that every other week I get to go to get my chemo cocktail, and I choose to take a drive in the morning, about a 2-hour drive to my clinic, because it gives me time to pray. And I have come to realize that my days are so powerful when I stop trying to get through them without God. So every other Monday, I drive. Now, one of my good friends is a producer of the theater company that I'm a director of, and he's an academic also. During the pandemic, they created these boundaries and these safeguards for patients and for the caregivers. So now one cannot have the same number or sometimes any visitors, depending upon what's going on at the particular clinic or hospital. And at this time during COVID, they weren't allowing anybody to come in for my day of getting my chemo cocktail, as I call it. But I was talking to Rick, is his name, on the phone, and he is a grown man with a family and a theater company and heavy work day as a faculty. He asked me if I wanted some breakfast. And I said, you can't come in. I said, well, okay. And so when I was finished with my morning, it takes about 4 hours plus for me to get my good medicine. I came out to head back home, and I looked to my left, and this man, Rick, had driven 45 minutes and brought me a hot sandwich with some eggs and bacon. Yeah, and fresh bread. And he was waiting on the bench outside the clinic, just waiting to share that sandwich with me. And I think that the stories side by side in my life and in my artistic consciousness shouldn't be lost, because it's so easy to, as you well know, as we move through this new year, to dwell on the negative, the divisions. Yeah. So through this COVID, also, as you well know, it's a challenge to be living the same rhythms. And my father, who is 86, died December the 28th because he had contracted the COVID and had to go into the hospital. And we thought he was doing pretty well, but eventually he had to go on a respirator. And Grammy, who had contracted COVID at the same time with him in the household, couldn't go see him. Now, he was in New Orleans, and we are out here on the West Coast. And so he died without his family. My dad was a family man, and I have always been a fan of his and his commitment to fatherhood and family. And strangely, due to Jesus in my life, I'm a bit confused because I have a sense of peace about where he is. And And I didn't think that that was going to happen. And I've been reflecting on that. You know, like I said, I'm 65, and you're all out there, you young ones out there in Belhaven, and my students out here. I like to share with them in a lot of ways that it's a bigger life than just the life that we live in our heads and in our, quite frankly, our little worlds. Our little worlds. I guess that's why I tell stories as an actor and a director. And why I try to explore becoming better at the exploration of the characters that I help people with as a director and that I develop as an actor. I think that I have experienced that it is my responsibility, it is my charge, it is my particular DNA to shed light on our purpose here, our humanity. And tell our story about life, about being given life, about being charged and challenged to tell truth about life, and to help people to eternal life. So we'll see if Dr. Parrott can do anything with this. And if not, I'll come back to you later on in the semester with another reflection. So, in parting, chew on humility. Humility in the presence of the other human being. And as I say, humility in the presence of the Word. Most importantly, the Word made flesh. Good morning.